This is Roger Everett and his beautiful in Kings. It's like up and down. Well, this is a down one. This is Ahab. So, or Ahaz, I'm sorry. Ahaz. Ahaz was, though, this is the one where Isaiah mentioned to him that the virgin would have a baby. I think that's over in Isaiah. I don't think that's in this. We'll find out. Anyway, it's we're in 2 Chronicles, the 28th chapter. This Roger Everett and his beautiful wife Elizabeth. So here we go. Ahaz was 20 years old when he began to reign. He reigned 16 years in Jerusalem, and he did not do what was right. Man, he sure did what was right. He did not do what was right. So we'll find out what he did here. In the eyes of the Lord, as his father David had done. But he walked in the ways of the kings of Israel. He even made metal images. His father, his actual father, they always mention David as his father, but his real father was Jotham. And so it's just a shame. Jotham wasn't that bad a guy. Anyway, but he walked in the ways of the kings of Israel. He even made metal images for the Baals, and he made offerings, and he made offerings in the valley of the son of Hinnon, and burned his sons as an offering. Can you imagine that? What they did to that terrible God is they would drive the children with whips so they'd go into the flames and die, huh? Ooh, just kind of like our abortions today. Yeah. And burned his sons as an offering according to the abominations of the nations whom the Lord drove out before the people of Israel. And he sacrificed and made offerings on the high places and on the hills and under every green tree. And of course they get defeated, Therefore the Lord his God gave him into the hand of the king of Syria, who defeated him and took him captive and a great number of his people and brought them to Damascus. He was also given into the hand of the king of Israel, who struck him with great force. For Pekah, the son of Remaliah, killed 120,000 from Judah in one day, all of them men of valor, because they had forsaken the Lord, the God of their fathers. And Zikri, a mighty man of Ephraim, killed Maaseiah, the king's son, and Azrikam, the commander of the palace, and Elkanah, the next in authority to the king. The men of Israel took captive 200,000 of their relatives, women, sons, and daughters. They also took much spoil from them and brought the spoil to Samaria. But a prophet of the Lord was there whose name was Oded, not Obed, but Oded. And he went out to meet the army that came to Samaria and said to them, Behold, because the Lord, the God of your fathers, was angry with Judah, he gave them into your hand. But you have killed them in a rage that has reached up to heaven. And now you intend to subjugate the people of Judah and Jerusalem, male and female, as your slaves. Have you not sins of your own against the Lord your God? Now hear me, and send back the captives from your relatives whom you've taken, for the fierce wrath of the Lord is upon you. Certain chiefs also of the men of Ephraim, Azariah the son of Johanan, Berechiah the son of Meshillemoth, Jehezekiah the son of Shallum, and Amasa the son of Hadiah, stood up against those who were coming from the war and said to them, You shall not bring the captives in here, for you propose to bring upon us guilt upon the Lord in addition to our present sins and guilt. For our guilt is already great, and there is fierce wrath against Israel. So the armed men left the captives and the spoil before the princes and all the assemblies, and the men who had been mentioned by name rose and took the captives, and with the spoil they clothed all who were naked among them. They clothed them, gave them sandals, provided them with food and drink, and anointed them, and carrying all the feeble among them on donkeys, they brought them to their kinsfolk at Jericho. The city of palm trees. Then they returned to Samaria. At that time, King Ahaz sent to the king of Syria for help, for the Edomites had again invaded and defeated Judah and carried away captives. And the Philistines had made raids in the cities and in the Shephelah and in the Negev. You see what happens when they forsake the Lord? That's why we're so happy to have a godly president right now, one that reads the Bible and is a Christian. Well, before we had one who was supposedly a Catholic, and he was horrible. He believed in abortion and open borders. You see how the country goes from one to the other? It's as a godly man, vote godly people into your places of power. And the Negev of Judah and had taken Beth Shemesh, Aijalon, Gederoth, Soko with its villages, Timnah with its villages, and Gimzo with its villages, and they settled there, for the Lord humbled Judah because of Ahaz, king of Israel. For he had made Judah enact sinfully and had been very unfaithful to the Lord. So Tiglath-Pileser, king of Assyria, came against him and afflicted him instead of strengthening him. For Ahaz took a portion from the house of the Lord and the house of the king of the princes and gave tribute to the king of Syria, but it did not help him. In the time of his distress, he became yet more faithless to the Lord, the same King Ahaz, for he sacrificed to the gods of Damascus that had defeated him, and said, because the gods of the king of Syria helped them, I will sacrifice to him, that they may help me. But they were the ruin of him and of all Israel. And Ahaz gathered together the vessels of the house of God, and cut in pieces the vessels of the house of God, and he shut up the doors of the house of the Lord, and he made himself altars in every corner of Jerusalem, in every city of Judah. He made high places to make offerings to other gods, and provoking to anger the Lord, the God of his fathers. Now the rest of his acts and all his ways from the first to the last, behold, they are written in the books of the kings of Judah and Israel. And Ahaz slept with his fathers, and they buried him in the city in Jerusalem, for they did not bring him into the tombs of the kings of Israel. And Hezekiah, his son, reigned in his place. Isn't that amazing? And now you'll see in the next chapter, it just turns around and Israel becomes great. People, what do we learn from history? I used to have a history Sunday school teacher who taught history. He said, what do we learn from history? Nothing. Man, I tell you, what a sad state of affairs that was. Well, now we're turning to Ezekiel, the 38th chapter. All righty. Thank you for listening.